Get ready for an exciting episode of Music Recollections with hosts Brian and James. In this episode, they sit down with Nathan Dudley, a passionate music fan whose journey shows just how deeply music can shape our lives. Nathan opens up about how music has transformed his life, from a touching story on his wedding day to the song that has stayed with him through every chapter, to how music changed his life after a difficult season of life. He also shares his love for playing the guitar, the emotions behind his favorite tunes, and why music continues to inspire everything he does. Tune in for heartfelt memories, musical insights, and the kind of stories that remind us why we all love music. Let's cue the music and get started.
Welcome to another episode of Music Recollections. I'm your co-host James, and I'm really grateful to welcome Nathan. He's going to be headlining the episode today. He's from Dublin, Georgia, and we're going to talk to him about his passion for music, how music has changed his life, and how music left a mark and inspired him and made those meaningful connections. So welcome, Nathan, and I'm going to turn it over to my co-host Brian for the first question.
Well, thank you, James, and thank you, Nathan, for being here. Really excited about this tonight. We're just going to ask you simply what's your first concert experience?
My first concert experience was was as a child, and it was a country music concert. And I don't have really good memories of that, but I did when my wife and I got married. She was a huge fan of Hootie and the Blowfish. So I saved up some money and found a concert not too far away. And yeah, we went to that. That was a good experience. I'm not a huge fan myself, but I see why she likes them.
Yeah, that's interesting because now he's a big country guy. Darius
He is. Yeah.
I remember back in the 90s, they were huge. I mean, that first album that they had, it blew up and just everyone was listening to Hootie, and yeah, it kind of brought a lot of, aren't they from like South Carolina? I know they're from the South somewhere.
Somewhere in this region. I don't know exactly where.
But yeah, they are from South Carolina. You're right, James, because I know Darius Rucker, he's a big, I'm a big college football fan. You probably learned that about me, Nathan. James is too. He's a huge South Carolina Gamecock, and he goes to a lot of the games.
Yeah.
But you're right. That just brings a blast from the past because that's when we met, James, back in the 90s.
Right.
But they were huge. And I want to say that show, Friends, didn't they have one of the songs in that? Or I think they helped with a couple songs, not the main one, but they were really big.
But it's funny, like between the three of us, it does seem like there's some common theme here, that the first concert that we go to is usually picked by the woman in our lives at the moment. That we just kind of follow along. Because no, that's right. No, that was your first date, wasn't it, B? With your wife?
It was, yeah. We went to it was Music Midtown, actually. That was our first date, and we got to see David Lee Roth. That was a lot of fun.
Oh man.
But I take Nathan more as a rocker just from getting to know you a little bit, Nathan.
I was once upon a time. I still play occasionally, but when I was young, I was huge into it, and I was convinced that I was going to be a rock star. When I was younger, I lived down in South Georgia in Albany with some relatives, and we had a little band down there. It was called Portable Freak Show, and we were loud and obnoxious. That's about all I can say about it. We were not good, but my best memory from doing that, we played a bar in Albany called the Cab Stand, and it happened to be that we went up before a band that would actually become very famous. We had no idea at the time. and that was Matchbox 20. They had traveled up from Tallahassee, because Tallahassee's about hour and a half from Albany, and that's where they got started. And yeah, that was when I heard that their album came out. I was like, there's somebody that made it. We didn't go anywhere, but they did.
Well, that's really cool. So what instrument do you play?
I have my semi-hollow body electric guitar. It plays both acoustic and electric. A lot of people call it a blues guitar because it's got like a deep, rich sound to it. But I love it. I've had this thing forever. It is an El Cheapo.
Yeah, she's a beauty. It looked like a George Thorogood guitar.
I love it, man.
It's old, it's rickety, just like me. It's a Johnson. That company's not even in business anymore. It went out sometime in the late 90s. And I want to say that's like a 1994 or 1995 Johnson semi-hollow body guitar. And I love that thing. I've had it repaired numerous times. I can't tell you how many strings that thing's going through, but I love it. It's my favorite thing in the whole world.
Well, man, I really respect your talents, and I know, Brian and I tried to learn guitar at one point, and it takes a lot of practice and a lot of dedication, and yeah, I never got very far with it, but yeah, that's great that you kind of kept that with
And
you.
I really miss being able to play for others. When I was younger, I was doing a lot of drugs. I could get up there on stage and look down at the floor and play whatever I needed to play. But, now I'm a 48-year-old autistic man, so I don't really do well in front of others. So it's just a at-home passion these days. Occasionally, I'll get it out around the campfire.
Yeah, we appreciate you playing. That's amazing. I know you definitely have musical talent, and for you all to essentially open up for a huge rock band, I think you're being modest, Nathan. You guys had been pretty good.
Not so much, but I appreciate the vote of confidence. I don't know. I guess it was about 15 years ago. I listened to one of those songs that we had done, and I was like, "Oh my God, we really sounded terrible, terrible." But kids start bands all the time, But even those that don't make it, I have no doubt that all of my bandmates still play to this day, and if we got together right now, I'm sure we could do something that was way better than what we did back then. But it's that passion for music. I never want to lose that. It was strange growing up in this rural area and surrounded by country music and stuff. And I always hung out with friends that were, listening to AC/DC and Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin. And one of the best things that ever happened to me was a complete and total fluke. I had a friend, he handed me a cassette tape, and he said, "I do not like this band, but I don't want to throw it away. Would you like to listen to it?" And I took that thing home, and I've been hooked on Blind Melon ever since. And that was the No Rain album. And just like Shannon Hoon, I am not a fan of the song No Rain, but every other song they've done, it just tugs on my heartstrings. Something about the sound and the melody and the message are just resonate with me.
Yeah, that's really amazing. I remember when that song came on during the class that we met at, I had a feeling that was Blind Melon, and I asked you if it was, but I'm not a fan of that song. But That was a really great song. I mean, that was amazing.
Yeah, the one you're talking about is called Mouthful of Cavities. That was on their second album, Soup. It's a B-side, but and it's actually a duet, and it is beautiful, just absolutely beautiful. It's one of the prettiest songs I've ever heard.
Yeah, James, definitely have to you go on YouTube and hear that. It's so good.
Yeah, that's great. So Nathan, has your taste in music kind of changed or evolved over the years? I definitely like the whole story of, having a friend kind of sharing some music with you that you really or wasn't on your radar, then you just became really attached to it. Have you kind of explored different types of music or
I do. I try and listen to other things. There's some newer bands out there that kind of have that nostalgic feel for me. But I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. People with autism, we will listen to the same thing over and over and over again. We will watch the same television shows over and over and over again. But I've tried to kind of branch out from that. You know, gosh, I guess it was about 12 years ago or so, I heard the Bar Brothers, and that is a really amazing band. They do a song called Beggar in the Morning. If you ever pull that video up, it's really cool. It's very blues inspired, but it also has a bit of that alternative feel to it. And one of the big ones that I like, that's not, too old, is the Lumineers. The Lumineers have a lot of great songs. They're very varied, and you never know where they're going to go from one song to the next. And I really appreciate what they do.
I'm saying we have that same similar music, like the old classics, AC/DC and Zeppelin, but I can listen to songs. There's a 2011 version. It's in Toronto, Keep on Rocking in the Free World with Neil Young and Pearl Jam, and I watch it weekly. It's incredible. It's about a 15-minute jam.
Yeah, Pearl Jam was always another one of my favorites. I always loved the relationship that they had with the other bands in the area where they grew up. You know, um, back when the band was called Mother Love Bone, um, their lead singer died, so they hired on Eddie to sing for them, and that's when they changed the name. But um, I don't think they would have gotten off the ground the way they did if it wasn't for their relationship with Chris Cornell and Soundgarden. And later on, um, they kind of welcomed Alice in Chains into that fold when Lane Staley was going through his addiction problems. They kind of all kept each other afloat. Um, and now they're all huge, just absolutely huge.
And of course, James, that's right in your backyard. You have some really cool stories about Eddie Vedder.
Yeah, I mean, he does really wonderful things for the Seattle community, and it's been really fun. I mean, what when the Cubs were still in the wild card contention, he's a avid Cubs fan, so he's saying, take me out to the ball game and things like that. And I want to say, uh, I could be wrong, but Mike McCready, he just recently played the guitar for the national anthem at one of the Mariners games. So it's fun, kind of to see him. He's definitely a kind of a local right into the community, but you're absolutely right. That whole group, all the sort of, labeled grunge bands seem to kind of stick together, and they use similar producers, and they kind of shared resources and ideas, and really supported each other. And yeah, I thought that was just a great thing to observe. So
Yeah, I mean, if you've ever heard of Temple of the Dog, that was back when Pearl Jam was first getting started, and it was literally a collaboration of Pearl Jam and Soundgarden. You can hear Eddie and Chris Cornell sing on some of the songs together, and I thought that was really neat. And like I said earlier, when Lane Staley from Alice in Chains was trying to dry out, the guys from Pearl Jam kind of took him out on tour with them, and they formed a band called Mad Season. But really, it's just Pearl Jam with the lead singer of Alice in Chains. But they were trying to improve his health and keep him away from the bad influences in his life.
Yeah, just such knowledge and musical history. Definitely remember Temple of the Dog, that song. I think it was I'm Going Hungry. That was a really great song. Yeah, Hunger Strike. That was great. Yeah, well, speaking of Pearl Jam, have you ever seen them live?
I have not. I've always regretted having missed that, but I always hear the stories about the young Eddie Vedder jumping off scaffolding into the crowd and, climbing up into the rafters of the venues. And I always thought that would have been something to see.
That's right. We saw him back in the 90s. Remember Jane's in her heyday? I don't remember him doing that too much, but that's back when I was drinking. I don't anymore. So that could have been. Do you remember much about that? It was in the mid 90s.
Yeah, he was really active. I don't remember him climbing on any scaffolding or anything like that, but yeah, he was known for that kind of stuff. And there's no nets or anything like that below.
Yeah, those videos, YouTube, it's incredible how high up he got.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure he probably looks back on that like, I can't believe I did that stuff. But
I don't think they'd let you do that today with these rock stars. No way.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah, Pearl Jam's always been one of my favorites. And yeah, definitely Chris Cornell's, the fact that he's no longer with us has been just really a big void in music, in my opinion. I mean, his voice is just nothing like anyone's. It's just melodic and angelic, and yeah, what a huge loss for music.
He was an inspiration to so many people. I know he's one of my inspirations.
No, that's right. And that's what is sad. Kurt Cobain, the same thing, just, spiraling downhill. And then the lead singer of Stone Temple Pilots, they were around, they were all friends too. And
yeah,
he didn't make it either.
Yeah, I mean, Lane Staley from Alice in Chains eventually succumbed to his addiction. We had mentioned Blind Melon earlier. They only got 3 albums out because Shannon Hoon, their lead singer, OD'd on the tour bus, heroin overdose. But I don't know. It's good to remember, those people in their heyday because they had amazing, wonderful talent.
They really did. It's like they were living on a different plane. They were like these brilliant people that just didn't fit into society, especially someone like a Kurt Cobain. You're right, Lane Staley, all those guys.
Yeah.
So, Nathan, what is your favorite album? I know you mentioned a couple of different artists. Do you have a favorite album?
There's so many. I love, like I said, I love Blind Melon. Their second album called Soup is wonderful. You probably never heard anything on it before. There is one song off that album that was on MTV back when they used to play music, and it was called Galaxy, and it was actually about the car Galaxy. It's a fun song, but I love that album. Some of my other favorites, like we said, Pearl Jam, Cracked Rearview, their greatest hits from the 90s. I love that album. The Temple of the Dog, I think it's a self-titled album, but it has Hunger Strike and I don't know, 8 or 9 other songs. most of them are done by Chris Cornell, but yeah, Hunger Strike was done by Chris and Eddie. But I can name them continuously. Allison, that's a very melodic. There's I don't know, it's very haunting piece of music. But yeah, anything from that era, I fell in love with it. I even dressed grunge today.
Oh, love it. Yeah, that's one of my favorite bands. That absolutely. That's my favorite album of all time.
You talk about U2?
Joshua Tree, yes.
Yes, that's from the Joshua Tree tour. I did not go to that concert. I actually have a sad story about this shirt. I had an older stepsister. She actually died of a drug overdose as well, and this was her favorite album. And she had always wanted to go see them live. And I found this shirt on the internet, and it just reminded me of her. So I keep it put up in the closet, but I wear it on special occasions. It's one of my faves.
Glad you pulled it out. I'm sorry for your loss.
Well, addiction takes a lot from everyone. It really does. I lost my mother to it. I lost, my stepsister to it. We've lost so many great talents over the years to that, but I think we're getting better at the whole recovery thing. I really do. I think we're leaning toward an era where that's going to happen less and less.
I agree. I was talking to someone at the Georgia Council on Recovery, and he was telling me that, they have these, you can go with a sober group to a concert. And I wish they had that, when I was in my 20s or 30s type thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because I quit alcohol more than 25 years ago. And that was probably the best concert I ever went to, James. The one just not having a drink at all when we saw you two. It was about 6 or 7 years ago. It was incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I haven't gone to any concerts, since I've gotten clean. Part of it is I'm just very, very busy, but another part of it is like you kind of don't want to face that part of yourself, that used to do things like that. But yeah, if I had a group of people that was sober, the last concert that I went to was probably the best concert that I had ever seen, and that was the Dave Matthews Band. On the I want to say Stand Up tour. I saw them in Atlanta, and that was a fantastic concert. They were flawless, absolutely flawless. You don't see that much in a live performance, but they were great.
Well, that's cool. That was going to be my next question. And yeah, it seems like, he really cares about the fans, and they're kind of like a touring band that they really, and even his bandmates and everyone seems like it's like a big family.
Mm-hmm. Yep. They, they get up on stage and cut up between themselves and, things like that. But I don't know. They just always seem like a great group of guys to be around. And they do. They cater to the fans. They're always on the road and doing live performances because they're more fun. They're always more fun.
So Nathan, yeah, it seems like you've really kind of experienced life a lot. And do you ever listen to music and it kind of takes you back to certain experiences, or, maybe you deal, I know personally, sometimes when I'm feeling down or, want to just kind of get a pick me up, sometimes I'll turn to music to kind of influence my mood and kind of get me out of a particular funk maybe that I'm going through. Um, so I guess the question is like, how has music changed your life, or how have you used music to kind of get through maybe some rough times or anything like that?
Well, I used to have a bad habit of using music to kind of wallow in my emotions. I would do that a lot. I would find the saddest playlist I could find and listen to that over and over again until I felt absolutely terrible. But, as time goes on, you learn that, you get out of yourself what you put into it. So if you play those fun songs and, things like that, it can cultivate some good memories. I actually have a bizarre story on that. I got married in 2002, and I had stayed at my sister's house the night before. Not seeing the bride and all that stuff. So she lived about 40 miles out of town. So I'm driving to the church, and I'm white knuckling the steering wheel, and I'm shaking, and I'm just so worked up and nervous, and oh my God, her whole family's going to be there. I know they hate me. Why is she marrying this weird guy? But all of a sudden on the radio came on Blue Oyster Cult, Godzilla. I can't remember the exact name of it. We always called it the Godzilla song. Oh no, there goes Tokyo, go go Godzilla.
Yep.
And I sat there through the whole setting up of the ceremony, and all the people coming in, that song just played over and over and over in my brain, and I could keep a smile on my face and stay calm through the whole ceremony. And then I told my wife about that, when we were in the reception, and when she said, "That's our song now." So yeah, mine and my wife's song is the Godzilla song by Blue Oyster Cult.
I love that. That is
It's
so
a good
awesome.
memory.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah, that's amazing. Every time I hear that song, Nathan, I'll think of you, and I love that song. And it's funny, you don't really think that's Blue Oyster Cult when you hear it. But yeah, I 100% know that song. That's amazing. Well, Nathan, yeah, thank you so much for your insight and courage. This has been incredible, and most importantly, congratulations on being a person in long-term recovery. And we met through that space, and I quit over 25 years ago, alcohol, so that was the best decision I ever made. But I felt a connection with you, and especially when I heard you talk about music, I just felt like you're a person with a lot of wisdom and has a lot to give back. And the recovery community is very fortunate to have someone like you.
Thank you
Helping.
very much.
I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. Much better man than me, and I appreciate this. And so, James, do you want to mention to the listeners we have our YouTube channel?
Yeah, please check us out if you're interested in becoming one of our guests. Please reach out to us, give us a little comment. Our channel is called Music Recollections, the soundtrack of your life. So we'd be happy to talk to you. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy this content. And as always, it's been a pleasure getting to know you a little bit more, Nathan, and thank you again for sharing some of your experiences and how music has kind of touched and improved your life. So we really appreciate your time here today, and as always, you've been just a great guest. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Nathan.
Appreciate it.
It was a lot of fun.